Hi, my name is Gina, and I donated a kidney to my youngest brother about 35 years ago. Watching my brother be on dialysis was kind of difficult because he was actually only on dialysis for a short time. And the reason he was on dialysis was because they discovered that his kidneys were prone to infection. And so they removed his kidneys. And so for a while he had no kidneys and he was just on dialysis, and he was really young. He was only like about 14. So that was pretty challenging. So my brother's transplant was a really long time ago. So I didn't actually get the opportunity to, there wasn't any internet back then, and I couldn't look at the internet and find anything out. So my finding out about transplant and about the kidney failure happened through his doctors. And his doctors were really great with me in explaining what would be going on. And also we had a priest at our parish who had been a kidney transplant recipient, and he spent a lot of time telling me about what it was all about. So since it was before the internet, I got all of my information from people, which is why I'm doing this recording, because I felt like the interaction with people were really great. And one of the things that his doctor told me was, he asked me if I wanted to do this. And I said, yes, I wanted to do it. And he said, good, because if you don't want to do it, the chances of it being successful are much, much lower. And it was really impactful for me for the rest of my life, actually, about medical procedures and my attitude towards them. I decided to donate a kidney because my brother was sick and he needed a transplant in order to get better. Everyone in my family was tested. My other brother and I came up perfect matches, but my other brother was younger than was legal to donate a kidney in our state at that time. So it fell to me, and I wanted to do it. So I did it because I wanted him to be happy and healthy and live a long and healthy life. And I had the means to do it, and they could guarantee me a 95% chance that my life after would be the same as it was before. They do all these tests to make sure that, if you're considering donating, to make sure that you don't have any conditions that would indicate that you might have kidney issues later in your life. So I was very confident with the procedure. I really trusted the medical institutions that we were interacting with, and I trusted his doctors. And my mother was a nurse, and so she selected really great doctors for my brother. Well, since our donation was 35 years ago, the way that I researched was I talked with people. And so there wasn't the internet. The internet hadn't been invented yet. And I got to talk to the doctors and nurses at the transplant facility and my brother's doctors and nurses. And that was how I learned about the different aspects of living kidney donation. And it was really different than now. But they had all kinds of really awesome things to tell me. And they had me go through all these different tests to make sure that there was nothing latent in me, that giving up a kidney at that time would impact me later. They had all kinds of tests that I had to take. And some of them were even fun, if you can believe that or not. One thing that impressed me was that because I was a young woman, they said that they would take the right kidney, because if I ever got pregnant after that, the right kidney is the one that if you have trouble during pregnancy, apparently it's the one that usually has more trouble than the other one. So I thought that was reasonable. It seemed like they were looking at different angles and wanting to assure that both me and my brother would have really great, fulfilling lives afterwards. Everyone in my family was worried, but we are a family of strong faith, and we have a strong faith community. And so people were praying, and we all prayed, and we all believed that we would all get through this. So, yeah, but everyone was worried, and the whole community gathered around us. So I had a lot of fears and questions about the process. And so there's two things I want to say about that. One is that the process for the donor is really, be willing, find out if you're a match, say that you're willing to, and then go through all the tests that they give you beforehand on their end to make sure that you will be okay, that you can give a kidney. And then during the process, all you have to do is go there and to the hospital, and they put you under, and then they do all the work, and then you wake up, and then your job is to recuperate. So it wasn't like it was all that technical what I had to do. So that's one part that I used that calmed my fears about it. And the other thing that calmed my fears was that I used to work at our parish rectory, and one of the priests had recently had a transplant. It was a cadaver transplant. They called them in the middle of the night, and he had like an hour to decide, or maybe 2 hours. And so he told me a lot about the process and about what would happen and stuff like that. Because really, living donor and cadaver donor, the process isn't that much different, except that I believe that the chances of setting it up to be successful are a little greater with living donor. And for cadaver donor, you have to decide in the middle of the night, or whenever they call you, you have to quickly decide and then change your whole life. But with a living donor, you can set it up, you can plan it, you can do things ahead of time to make sure that you are off work and you have enough time to recuperate and stuff like that. I was able to resolve any of the fears that I had by talking to our priest who'd had the transplant, and also by talking to the doctors at the medical facilities, my brother's doctors. Confidence is what I got from talking to them. The main source of information that I had were the medical institutions where my brother was being cared for, the doctors, the nurses, the really amazing people at the clinics. So, and I'm a people person. I like doing that much more than I like researching, even though actually I'm a librarian, but I'm a children's librarian, and I'm really into telling stories, which is why I wanted to do this. I was a student, I was in college, and I was concerned, and I was concerned mostly about if I registered for college, would I be able to complete that quarter or semester, whatever it was, because my college changed from quarters to semesters when I was there. And the doctor, my brother's doctor, said that he would pay my my fees if I needed to drop out for that quarter and go the next one. So that obviously is a personal arrangement. It's not anything that anyone else is guaranteed, but I really felt like the doctors were really behind us. They were behind me. They were behind us. They really wanted it to be successful. So having a support system is important. Like I think I mentioned earlier that we had a very strong faith community. And so it was really nice to know that people were praying for us. And my family was there for me in amazing ways. And everyone was totally supportive and channeling their energy to help me and in the donation and to help my brother in the receiving. And so I highly recommend that you have something that you believe in, a group of people, a faith community that will really support you in knowing that you are backed by God, the universe, whatever you believe in. I didn't really need to make any lifestyle changes when I donated my kidney. I already was very health conscious, and so I just the lifestyle changes I would say that I made are being more aware of making sure that I nourish my body and my mind and my soul healthily. So that's really the main thing. And like I said, it's been a long time, so I don't really remember. It's part of my life now, and it doesn't feel restricting. It's just part of me. In total, the surgery I think my surgery took a long time because I'd never ever had a surgery before. And I'm extremely sensitive, so I think they used too much anesthesia. And so the surgery, I guess, took the regular amount of time. But then in the recovery room, it took a long time for me to come out. Now, I wasn't worried about it because I was under, but my family was all really worried. And my brother, whose surgery was first, recuperated. He came to before me. So everyone was worried about that. So I can't really give you any number of hours because mine was complicated by the fact that I'm very sensitive, and it took me a long time to come out from it. So you'll have to ask someone more recently about the timing, because surgeries are really different now, much less invasive. I have this big old scar over half of my waist, but now you just have three little teeny tiny incisions. So in the end run, you don't have as much to show for it, but you also have less of a scar, which is really awesome. Very, very awesome, the advances that have happened in medicine and technology. So just know you're going to have a much easier time recuperating because you don't have as much of an incision as me. Yay, you. I'm glad for you guys. I'm a little jealous, but I'm really glad for you. If I could share a tip about the hospital stay, it would be bring things that you need, but don't bring anything unessential, because then you'll just have to keep track of it. My mom was a nurse, and she was very worried about anything that we might have been left or that we'd need to keep track of. So just bring stuff you need for comfort, but don't bring anything extra at all. And then family and friends can bring balloons and flowers and all kinds of really great stuff to cheer you up. The best moment after my surgery was seeing my brother and knowing that we were both okay, although he was more okay than I was because, as I mentioned earlier, it took me longer to get out of recovery because I had never been put under before, and he'd had already a lot of surgeries by that time, so they knew how much to dose him, but they had no idea with me. When I was recovering, I actually didn't go home. I went to my parents' house because I have a waterbed, or I did at the time. I had a waterbed, and because of having an incision in the stomach area, we thought it might be hard for me to get out of the bed. So I stayed at my parents' house that had just a regular bed. And I got 2 cats. I got some kittens when I was there. My brothers helped me to name them. And they had a restriction on my lifting. But like I said, this was 35 years ago, so I'm not remembering too much about the things I could do and I couldn't do. But I do remember that there was a certain amount of pounds that I wasn't supposed to lift more than. And so when I found a table that I wanted, I had to get people to help me to carry it because it was over my poundage. That's the main thing I remember about the things that I could do and couldn't do, which are probably going to be really different from you now in this modern age. It kind of feels like it was a little bit like the Ice Ages 35 years ago, but it wasn't really that long ago. After donating a kidney, I can't really tell you how my health has changed because I don't really know what it would have been like if I hadn't. I know I was in college and I was burning the candle at both ends, and sometimes I wondered if I would have been less tired if I hadn't donated a kidney. But there is no way of telling about that because as I said, I was in college and burning the candle at both ends and working my way through college and doing all of that stuff. So I can't really say that my health was any different. The thing that did happen was I told you I had a big scar on the side of me, which the current methods wouldn't give you anymore. But that made my waistline, it made it where the scar is kind of like there's a bump. So it made my waistline a little crooked, like leaning to one side. But no one really noticed it except me. Isn't that usually how it goes? Yeah, and I've always been very health conscious. I grew up in a very health conscious family, and I've always been health conscious. So there's no real telling, in my opinion, how the transplant affected my health. I'm just me. The whole process of donating a kidney did make me more aware of my own health. And first off, being very grateful that I have the health and well-being to be able to do the donation, and just really paying attention to making sure that I drink water and take care of myself and stuff like that. I can't really think of a lot of other ways that it's really impacted me. Like I said, I came from a health conscious family, and I've always been very interested in putting whole, organic foods into my body, and seeing the value of having really great sustenance. Overall, what surprised me most was, and I probably shouldn't tell you this, but I'm going to tell you, was how much the incision hurt, like afterwards. And also, I had migraines, but they weren't diagnosed. And so after the transplant, I had this really, really horrible migraine that lasted for a really long time. And so it was surprising to find out that my headaches were actually migraines. And that's what I found out afterwards, because it's the only time that I'd, like I said, been in the hospital. And so they could tell that I had this headache for a really long time, days, I think. And there was something about needing to be able to have liquid food before solid food, but because I had this migraine, I couldn't. Just the smell of any other food totally bothered me. So my dad was into juicing vegetable juices, so he snuck me in some carrot juice and stuff like that, which I could deal with better than the stuff from the hospital. But finding out that my headaches were migraines was a big surprise. And then I sleep on my right side, and the incision was on my right side, and so it was really hard to like the incision hurt. And so I tried to lay on the other side, but the other side was uncomfortable for sleeping. So then I tried laying on the incision side, and that really hurt too. I forgot all about that. This is a long, long time ago. But yeah, that surprised me, because I'd never had a surgery before, and I haven't had a surgery since. And like I said, I think with the 3 little teeny incisions that you'll have, it will be much better. Looking back, the best thing about donating a kidney was knowing that I was being a contribution, that because I was willing to do this courageous thing, my brother has the opportunity to live a long, full life. That is absolutely the best part. The best advice that I could give someone else who's thinking about being a living donor is do it. If you love the person, if you want to do it, do it. If you feel like you're being pushed or coerced, or if you're afraid or nervous, don't do it. But if you really want to do it, do it. It's the best. It's the best to be able to contribute in a way that nobody else can. And you have the opportunity to do it.